Sorry. All right.
Get close.
Now, do I have
Put
to
your headphones on.
put the headphones on?
Yeah, put the headphones
Yeah, that's good.
on. Talk. Are you gonna talk in the phone?
Okay, I'm
Don't
talking
talk
like.
into it. Just talk.
What do you?
I talk into the
Okay.
microphone. Then.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to talk into the microphone. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I'm gonna call now.
Yeah.
Hello?
Hello, Mr. Hyrie.
Yeah, you gotta call me Tom. Is
Okay.
Monica?
Yes, this is
I
Monica.
will. I'll start looking around for my dad if you if you don't call me Tom.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. How are you?
I'm all right. I'm just trying to get speak.
hmm
How are you?
Um, doing okay. It was. It's a really busy. Hang on just a sec.
Right. Was the conference successful?
Sorry about that. It's a it's a funny week because I was traveling at the beginning of the week and I got back
Wow.
last night and my wife left this morning for a trip, so um, I'm home alone with my kids, which is why it's better to do it a little late after they go to bed.
Oh. Oh, I really appreciate you being able to take this call.
No, it's totally fine. I don't I'm happy to do it. Everything's okay with your car, and that like you're okay with the I don't know, the accident sounded scary.
Oh, it was terrifying. I don't think I can make left-hand turns anymore.
Oh gosh, wow.
Yeah.
But you're okay, and
Yes, I'm fine. As long as I'm functional, I'm happy.
cool. All right, so fire away. What do you want to know?
Okay. How about we start off with some personal questions?
Sure.
Okay. Okay, number one. Okay. How long have you been in your position in special collection?
3 years.
Um,
3.
3. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
3. Yeah.
Um, and what has been your career progression?
Um, archivist, and I went to the University of Michigan, and when I got out of school, I got a job, like an entry-level archivist job at Yale University, and I had a job where I got to do a lot of different things, like I got to process collections and do reference and do some collection development within an archival context. And I eventually became head of arrangement description, so I had a small management role. And so I worked in manuscripts and archives at Yale for 9 years, and then there's a different library at Yale called the Beinecke Rare Book and Manuscript Library, and I moved over there to be head of a manuscript unit, which handled the library's non-book collection, so anything not printed. And I worked there for 4 years. I had a staff of well, when I started the job, we were a group of 12, but we were in the midst of building an off-site processing facility and then hiring staff to staff it. So it was I supervised up to 20 people in that unit. And,
Wow.
and then 3 years ago, I came here to be director of special collections.
It's amazing.
Well, thanks.
Okay. What would you say, what leadership qualities do you feel are most important to successfully lead special collections?
Wow, what a great question. What a hard question. So leadership qualities. So yeah, there's a lot of different ways to think about leadership, and well, I'm just going to answer this question the way I want to. Yeah, I sort of think that all professionals need to be leaders on some level, and they don't necessarily need to have formal leadership positions, but there's one way to think about leadership as somebody who's willing to take responsibility for more than, just sort of like what's in front of them, take responsibility for others or other things or a function or, to sort of just look out for something. And so, and you don't even have to be, you wouldn't necessarily have to be in a professional position to be like that. In fact,
So just taking initiative.
Yeah, exactly. Taking initiative. Yeah. So, and I think that so you can be a good leader at any point of an organization. Now, to do a job like mine, sort of the leadership qualities are, like the words that come to mind. There's always, that idea that, even your greatest strength, if you have too much of it, can be a weakness. So,
Right.
There are things that come to mind are, creativity, patience, ability to see the positive in things. I think you have to be an excellent. You have to be an excellent communicator. The
Right.
better communicator you are, I think you have to be able to see a big picture and to sort of be able to then have a big picture vision about what the challenges are in front of your organization, and then be able to like devise solutions and then break them down into ways that can make them accessible to others. And I'll give you one more. You have to be able to get others involved in your organization to solve their own problems too, or to sort of be leaders on their own level.
Right. Okay.
I could probably keep talking about that for another 5 or 10 minutes, but I think I'll rest with that.
Sounds good.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds difficult.
It is, but it is hard.
Okay, now I have some questions about the library itself.
Okay, sure.
Okay, now, do you know what the vision, mission, or core values of Special Collections is?
Well, we have them written down. Would it help for you if I just sent them to you?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Yeah. We did a planning process just over a year ago. We finished it, and the unit I oversee is a new unit. Actually, we brought together. There were 5 different. Well, UCLA a little bit. So there are 5 different special collections under the library umbrella. The main Department of Special Collections, University Archives, the Oral History Program, and then the Arts and Music Library had a Performing Arts Special Collections, and the Biomedical Library has the History of Science and Medicine and Science collection. So my job was to bring all of these groups together into one organization. And so as part of that, we did a planning process to do things like set our mission, and we called our values guiding principles.
Right.
So and then we have a little bit of strategy in there too. But I'll send you that document, and that should do it. If you will send me, what you should do is send me an email asking me to send you that document, just so I won't forget.
Okay, yeah, I'll go ahead and I'll send you an email.
Yeah.
That would be great, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I know that the primary patrons that come into YRL are students, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
I know that there are a lot of people that always ask for access cards to get into Special Collections. So who would you say are
Right.
yeah. So what do you say are your main, I guess, customers?
So we would say that UCLA, first and foremost, UCLA students and faculty. I would say sort of a second tier University of California system. Like they would be, UCLA is like one. UC, affiliate campuses are like 2A, and then scholars and students from other institutions are 2B. Although I will say that, I think, I haven't looked at the statistics recently, but I think that roughly around half of our researchers come from outside of UCLA. And that's
Wow.
fairly standard for major research library special collections. That's a little different from the main collection, and it has to do with us having unique content, that people can't get elsewhere.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. What are your primary programs or activities?
Well, so our primary, they're, say, acquisitions. So, bringing in new archival collections and rare books and medieval and Renaissance manuscripts sort of collections. So acquisitions would be one. The work we do to preserve and catalog and otherwise describe and in an archival sense organize collections, things we do to make them accessible and discoverable would be another. And then services we do to, where we try to connect people to materials. So, things like running a reading room and, giving reference service, that would be a third.
Right.
A fourth would be instruction, so hosting classes and providing instructional services, both supporting faculty and then sometimes we'll have staff that will even teach their own classes, or will host classes, with the class over the course of a quarter will hold their all of their sessions in special collections because they're courses that are built around our holdings. And then I would add, there's like an external programming function. So like we do exhibits and plan lectures and public programs. And then most of everything we do sort of folds into those five functions. Like I have to do things like fundraising and things like that, but it's like we don't fundraise for fundraising's sake. We do it to support all of those other activities.
Okay. Actually, speaking of funding, the next question is, where do you get your funding?
So it's the special collections budget is fairly complex. We get most of our core funding from the state. Those are funds that are allocated to the library, and the library allocates a certain amount of those monies to us. And then we also have, I think it's something like a $6 million endowment if you add up all of the different funds. So, we have funds that have been donated to us over. Do you understand? Forgive me if this is a stupid question, but do you understand how endowments work? So imagine an endowment so I have about, say, 3 dozen savings accounts, but so there are pots of money that people gave to us over time, and they sit in the bank, but we can't spend the savings account. We can only spend the interest that they make, and so that's why endowments are so important, because they sort of just keep generating income.
Wow.
And a lot of those go towards acquisitions in a particular area. Sometimes it's quite general, to just support acquisitions, and sometimes it's for a really specific purpose, like books about. We have one that is all about books about mountaineering.